Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this, the inaugural forum of the Leaders of Change initiative. Very, very warm welcome to you all, our guests here today. My name is Richard McLean. I'm Head of Corporate and Government Relations excuse me, for Workstar. It's a bit tricky speaking at this time of the morning. We're the sponsor of this event today. It's a very great pleasure to have you all here, those of you who managed to get up and get out of bed and come here, because leading change is something of sufficient interest and passion that you have effectively formed this community. There is a little bit of spare space. Some of us didn't get out of bed this morning. And so if anyone feels they're sitting in a disadvantaged place, or there's not quite enough love for them to share, please feel free to move to a table with more people, or shuffle forward, or move to a more advantageous position. I would especially like to welcome our panel today of distinguished speakers, Nicholas Gruen, Stephen Loosley and Stephen Collins, each of whom I'll introduce in a few minutes as they speak. Also, I'd like to acknowledge the presence of our partner PwC here today. We have a number of people who are helping the public sector lead change, who've also got up at this beautiful hour of the morning to come and join us. Thank you. In terms of the guest speakers, you'll see there's an invisible man. There's one chair which is empty. And that was Andrew Lee, who was due to be speaking with us today. But Andrew, who has recently had a baby, had been applying for paternity leave. And you know, the hardest thing about getting paternity leave when you're a member of Parliament in a hung Parliament, or almost hung Parliament, is getting a pair. And he announced that, to us that he may not be able to get a pair, in which case he'll be here. But at the last minute, there was a political breakthrough. And so Andrew is at home looking after his baby. He's assured us that he won't have another baby in the next few months. And so he would like to join us at the next event. And we're going to hold him to that, of course. And he's asked to pass on his apologies. If you're eating, please keep eating. And the breakfast will be kept at the back of the room. So at any stage, if you haven't quite had enough, either during the presentations or afterwards, I'm sure the speakers will be very comfortable with us all going to get some more sustenance at any time. And after the speakers, after the breakfast, there'll be more, after the formalities, there'll be more food available. At this stage, I'd like to acknowledge the Ngunnawal original inhabitants, the Ngunnawal people, who originally inhabited this as a forested area beside a beautiful river. There is art and other artefacts dating back over 21,000 years indicating their residence here. We pay our respect to the elders past, present and future, and share the belief that together we can walk to a better future. This session is broken into two parts, two and a bit parts. The bit is just a quick introduction as to why this has been generated and the purpose of the Leaders of Change Forum, and then a panel discussion where the speakers will be speaking one after the other to us in short speeches sharing their thoughts, and then an open question time. During the speakers' presentations, the session will be filmed, and the highlights of it and excerpts will be available on the website, and we'll notify you when they're uploaded and when those things are available, should you want to reflect on them again. During the discussion period afterwards, the protocol will be Chatham House rules, and so it won't be filmed. There are no members of the press here, and we're free to ask and discuss anything that we feel we'd like to without anything being reported. So that's the format. I've got just a couple of minutes now to introduce why we're doing this, and then we're straight into the discussion. So the background to the Leaders of Change was inspired by you and your colleagues when we've been visiting, talking about changing, about the people part of change. So many of you will know WorkStar is involved in capturing the heads and hearts of the people affected by change initiatives or new initiatives, policy changes, service delivery changes. And when we've been visiting our public sector clients, we've heard a number of interesting messages. One of them is the economic shift might be not a double dip, a second dip, but a structural change. And if it is a structural change, the reduction in budgets might be a longer term thing, not just a 1 or 2 year phenomena. And if it is a longer term thing, then that might drive change even faster than the technological and social change and policy-led and service delivery change that's happening at the moment. Now, frankly, that's quite astonishing to us, because we see what you're doing in terms of transformation as being absolutely remarkable. The amount of change and initiatives. I sat next to one Deputy Secretary recently at a lunch, and she said to me, if the government knew how much we're doing, we wouldn't be allowed to. It would be stopped. And I think it really is quite astonishing. So the amount of change is really high and may increase. And if it does increase, one of the really interesting phenomena is that people have many changes coming at us. We are all consumers, we're all taxpayers, we're all citizens and have multiple interactions with the public, with the government, and we're all employees. And each initiative that we launch from our department affects people who are being affected by many other changes. So that thing about capturing the heads and hearts, some people are going to capture the heads and hearts of people, some aren't. And in the course of that discussion, it became apparent to us that clearly WorkStar is focused on the people part of change, but the systems and the processes and the many other things that are coming at you make your lives incredibly complex, give you amazing challenges, and it would be worth creating a place for those of you who intend to and are leading change to be able to meet and talk and share challenging thoughts. We've chosen a panel who have got a particular interest in the future and change, in global change, in national change, in political change, social change, technological change, but we haven't sought to influence what they say, and so we're not responsible if they say things that you don't like. But we are responsible if they say things that you do like. So that's just a little bit of background to the Leaders of Change initiative. We would intend, we've sponsored the first one. We would hope that we can make this a regular event. And before the end of today, we'll have a survey, ask you to fill in the survey on the table, in which you express what you would like in terms of future events.